So I'm going to remove the quilt from the machine, and the very first thing that I do whenever I am cleaning out a machine is I remove just about everything I can. I also want to go on ahead and remove the needle, take the thread out, just unthread the whole top of the machine, and also remove the foot. This is going to make it a lot easier to kind of access this bottom bobbin area and brush it out. So now that the foot is removed, I'm just going to unscrew these screws to lift up this needle plate. After I get that base off, I also take out the bobbin case, and I just set this aside. Okay, now I can take a look at it, and you see how much lint has built up. I really have not, brushed this out, and this is just 2 bobbins worth of lint. So you can see how much that can build up. And it builds up from a variety of things. The back of your quilt is kind of shedding lint and cotton fiber. Your batting can kind of get in here, and of course your top and bobbin thread. I'm using water-soluble thread right now in what I'm doing with my quilt. So I know that's not very linty, but it can you still have a lot of different fibers that are going on here. And now I'm just brushing it out very carefully. I have this little fine brush that came with one of my machines, and I'm kind of just going after this, brushing very lightly. And I'm also looking for anywhere that I had some threads. You know, this is a thread that I'm pulling out of the base of the machine. That can create a lot of issues, and definitely issues with breaking thread and how this feeds and how it feels. Okay, so whenever I'm brushing this out, I'm aiming to get rid of all the lint that I see on the surface, and I'm brushing it outward. Here's 2 things that I never do. I never use can of air, because what that would do is that would blow air into the machine. It would blow the lint into the machine, where it's just going to get deep down inside and really lock up the gears. So never ever use can of air, and don't blow, don't blow air at it to try and blow it off or whatever. I know that seems like a tempting thing to do, but it's really bad for your machine. Just be very light-handed, just brushing it out until really all you see is just the metal. Be gentle, but at the same time, make sure you get all the lint that you can see out of there. So now that I've brushed out the machine completely, I just want to put it back together again. I'm just going to replace the needle plate and put the screws back in. After changing 2 bobbins out, is I review where my machine needs to be oiled. And this is a page of my manual that I printed out, and I keep it near my machine so I always remember where it needs to be oiled. And what was nice is Juki provided, little arrow points, and usually like these holes that are in your machine, usually if they're a hole and they don't have any threads, like these 2 holes have threads, clearly that is for some kind of attachment. But this hole doesn't have threads. Usually that means it's a hole that you put oil into. And the instructions say just a few drops, so that to me tells me 3. I usually do 3. 1, 2, 3. And so I just go around to each hole that's indicated in the instructions and place drops of oil. Again, this is not intimidating. It's just good machine maintenance. And it's exactly what your machine repairman does, and you pay him quite a lot to do that when you could easily be doing it yourself. Okay, so the next step would be to change the needle out. Just grab another pack of needles and reinsert it, and then replace the foot. And I usually put both on and then tighten them up. There we go. So all told, this only took about maybe 10 minutes to brush out the machine, oil it, change the needle, and now it's going to run so much better for having taken this little extra time to take care of it. So that's it for this video. I really hope that it's helped you see how to maintain your machine and why it's so important to take this time to stop and brush out the bottom, put some oil in the machine, and know where to oil your machine. Refer to your manual, and if you don't have a manual, get online and find one, so that way you know what to do after you've used it for a little while. I would say one of the number one things that I learned when I became a seamstress, when I sewed garments professionally, was how to maintain my machines to keep them running. I had never changed needles. I had never brushed out the bobbin case. I'd never even taken the bottom part of the machine apart to see the bobbin case and really get in there until I began sewing professionally and realizing how much that lint buildup could destroy a machine. I actually broke 2 machines before I learned this. So I hope that this helps you, and I hope that you will start maintaining your machines in a wonderful way. Until next time, let's go quilt.